Okay. This is the educational convention, and see, as long as you keep it in an educational level, we felt that that was the positioning that we should do the conventions, that it wasn't in a let's rally against the church or against some sort of political activities or whatever. It was more of a let's inform ourselves. Because remember last time yesterday I was talking about culturalization and how to free yourself from various cults or your PCs that come in. The last thing I had up there was sacred science. Yeah, and this concept, what that means is like when the elite have a certain knowledge that you seek. That is called what I call sacred science. Science that only the elite have. You got to be like in the church, you got to be class 12 to get this, or you got to be somebody, right? But I tell you that I've done the L's, I've done and read everything on the class 8 courses, and there's nothing in there that are like tools that a class 6 wouldn't have. I'm talking about the tools of auditing, such as date and locate, listening and nulling, R3R. These are all like abbreviations of particular techniques that an auditor uses. As he goes up and gets more and more training, he just becomes more expertise in those techniques. But the way out of how do you handle a situation where an elite has secret science, things that you don't have, but they're like a carrot waving at you. All right, so now you got to bow 3 times to Mecca. Now you got to do whatever you got to do to get it. That's how you get trapped. How do you get out of that trap? Well, you get out of that trap by getting that secret, getting those secrets, and going beyond. Now, how do you do that? Well, you go master what they've mastered first. Like you go to any guru and you got to master what he's teaching you. And what I did was I went out, when I got out of the church, I went and studied everything L. Ron Hubbard studied before he wrote Dianetics. Yeah, and it includes magic. It includes psychology, because he studied under Commander Snake, the student of Freud. Well, I not only studied under somebody, psychology, I went to university and studied psychology and got a degree on it, but a little bit more. I did not only study magic, I actually applied it and did some magical things. And I remember listening to tape Ron, and he says, yeah, magic and what do you call it? Mystical studies are valid. They're not as fast as what I'm going to show you up here. And they tend to key in things if you go out and try to do magic. I tell you, it's you got to have your case handled. Or you're going to succumb like Aleister Crowley. You heard what happened to Aleister Crowley, don't you? Well, I'm going to tell you so you don't get into magic until you really got your case handled. What happened to Aleister Crowley? He was found behind locked doors. Dead. Body torn to shreds. Interesting. That I won't tell you. I don't know. When you slide over to the dark side and the demonic side, your guess is as good as mine. But anyway, that's what happened to him. Of course, he didn't have his case handled, did he? No. A lot of people don't know this about Aleister Crowley, but actually he was a successful spy for the Allied nations during World War II. He was a spy. Okay, so much about Aleister. So I studied everything that Hubbard studied before. He did Scientology, Dianetics. And then I went and from the start, I restudied everything I learned. And I had to go back and find things that were like hidden away or burned by RTC, like the original books. They're burning the original books, right? Why are they doing this? Hiding knowledge or what? This is like, yeah. And so I went, and anyway, luckily, but they've done some good things, because recently they released the first classification gradation chart that Hubbard had put out, and a tape, a videotape. And I said, well, thank you very much, you know. And so I have it. And the first thing you see up here is Hubbard's first classification and the first concept he had. Because before this thing here, people would just get auditing, and he would like start auditing them on, at a certain point, he would audit them on OT processes and try to make one shot clear, or try to get a guy clear right away and try to get him OT right away. And a lot of people will go up the pole and crash, he would say. You know, they would like go exterior, and all of a sudden it would crash. And he was trying to figure out, you know, to handle that. He finally came up with a gradation chart that said, you do it systematically. Now I have a friend who audits in the field, and he goes, I don't use the gradation charts. I just like audit people when they come in, and what do you want handled? And he gives them what they want handled. And I said, you're not auditing them toward clearing an OT? He says, no. Well, what he's going to wind up with a bunch of codependents, people that are dependent on him, and that's how he has a practice, and that's okay. You know, that's okay for him this lifetime. He has money coming in all the time, but that's not my purpose. My purpose is to audit people so they don't need me. Train them so they don't need me, right? So they can go out and help others. My purpose is to free people, not to entrap them in some sort of codependency. Do you follow what I'm saying? Right. So this is what Hubbard did also. And he said, okay, you do it step by step. And on this one here, and during breaks and stuff, you guys can look at this stuff. And I'm going to try to put it up on here. But on this one here, he just has up to, this is 1960. And he has up to clearing and power processing. And he stops there. And by 1970, which is this other one, he discovered OT3 and other OT phenomena that needed to be audited out for you to be an OT so you don't crash. See? So these are the OT levels, 1970, which I did, in 72. And it's all the way up to OT7, but OT8, he's got OT8 here, but it was never released. He's got power processes, and he has them all lined up here. If you do this particular bridge, you could get up to, what's the top here? Freedom of intention. Ability to intend for something to happen, and it happens. That's how I seen a guy hit 5 one-armed bandits in a row. He was just intending to do it, and he was OT7. Not that you guys can't do it. All you got to do is rehabilitate your intention. But to me, that's what OT is about. Telepathic, being exterior, using your what psychologists would call parapsychology, or what Hubbard called parascientology, which means even beyond just being able to communicate. It's having OT abilities. All right. So by 1975, this was changed. Now I found out why it was changed. You do OT7 before you do OT3X. You come back down, then you do these other OT levels. There was a bulletin. It seemed like it was just for one guy. They did this, and they wound up changing the gradation chart. There was a guy who was like low tone arm. He was in overwhelm. Low tone arm, that means you're in overwhelm. And Hubbard's solution was is say, give him some OT7, and then maybe he can get through his OT3, which is like, OT3 is the termed as the wall of fire. It's why the Earth is in the condition it's in, and it happened many, many years ago. It might have been the reason why the dinosaurs perished. Think about that. Okay.